Okay, so the next thing I want to do is scan my Windows 7 machine for any vulnerabilities. This is an old Windows 7 machine that hasn't been patched, hasn't been service packs. There's nothing been done to it. Okay, it's only got service pack 1, so there's a lot missing from this machine. So there should be quite a few vulnerabilities to be found. So I go back to Kali Linux. This time I'm going to use nmap and nmap scripting. So I will type in nmap -s and v for, no, I'm not going to do that one. I'm going to do -o for the operating system, -pn to avoid any port probes, -- script equals vuln, and then my target, which is 192.168.1.25. So I'll run that. That can take up to 10 to 15 minutes to run. So what I'll do at this point is I'm going to pause this video. You can pause the video as well, and when yours finishes, pick me back up. So I'll just pause now. Okay, that scan took about 10 minutes. The first time the scan ran, it failed. It came up with a segmentation fault. I just ran it again, and it was quite slow, but it did run through. And as you can see, we've now got all of these results. Incidentally, if whilst the scan's running you hit the enter key, it gives you a progress report how far it's gone. So when we've run ours, we can see that it's given us a vulnerability and information about it. So that's a DOS attack vulnerability, and we've got the common vulnerabilities and exposures database to look at. And this was 17th of September 2009, so it's quite an old one. And if we carry on going down, we do find a more interesting one here. So this is a remote execution vulnerability, but we don't know too much about this. So if I bring up a web browser and I close these down for a second, I've been looking these up myself. So if we go to the CVE database, or cve.mitre.org, we can get a list of all the vulnerabilities, and we can do searches. Also, we've got the links, so it gives us the links we've got here. So if I copy this link, and I put it into my website, just copy and paste, you'll see it's giving me information about it, and it says it's a Windows Vista server, and it is indeed a Windows 7 Service Pack 1, which is what I'm running, as I showed you that earlier. And it's for remote execution. And if we click some of these links, it'll tell us a little bit more about it. Some sites are more helpful than others. So if we look at securitytracker.com, it tells us all about it, again, what versions it's in. But the interesting ones I find are, if we look at the TechNet stuff from Microsoft, you might recognize MS17-10. That's typical of the patches and updates that Microsoft release. So if I open my web browser on my machine, not that one, so it's probably this one. And the reason I've chosen this one is it's because it's quite an interesting one. It gives us a lot of information, and it tells us that it's for the WannaCry virus. So if you remember, some time ago there was ransomware and there was the WannaCrypt virus. It's held a lot of machines to ransom, a lot of vulnerabilities, and in the Microsoft Bulletin update, it was fixed. And if we read here, it was fixed in the Microsoft malicious removal tool as well, and it was added to Microsoft Windows Defenders as well. So basically we now know that the virtual machine, the Windows 7 machine I'm running, is could be exploited with ransomware or remote execution. So by running this particular scan, I've identified a weakness in this machine. So I now know this machine desperately needs to be fixed and patched up. It also needs to be that vulnerability needs to be closed, and the malicious removal tool needs to be running as well. But of course, if I was a hacker, I now know how to a vulnerability on that machine, and I can take care of it. So basically, by using the vulnerability script through Nmap, we've found vulnerabilities on this machine, and if you type in the CVE code, or it gives it to you here, you follow these, you learn about the exploits. Some exploits are easier to take advantage of than others. So that's a good example of scanning the machine, finding the exploits, and then using the web to look up those exploits. So the next thing I'm going to go on to is just an introduction into Wireshark, and just a very light touch before we do some more in-depth Wireshark exercises to follow.